So these are two sets of people with a greater desire, a greater hunger, a greater nataka kuita nini? I think hunger is nasikia kama ifiki.
Passion.
Yes. No, not craving.
Craving.
Let me call it craving.
Okay.
Of a father, because they know the absence. We also have another set of people who have, it's obvious. I grew with a father. I got married at 25. My kids are all birthed by my husband. So they are, for me, a father is something that should do extra.
Yeah.
If they don't do extra, they are not fathers enough.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that father.
Yes.
Who has not been there. That person who has not had an experience of a fatherhood. There was no father figure in their lives. And then how they feel from within. Do they desire to have a father? Because I know many people will want to talk about fathers in... George has said... I said George?
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Yes, Kimani.
Yes.
Said it very well, that his presence is everything. It's the number one thing, which is very true. But in most cases, people think provision is the first requirement of a daddy.
Okay.
And it's okay.
But that's how we have been conditioned to think.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because
even,
even the women that we have, and we have,
or the women that we are.
Yes, and the ones that we have children with.
Yes.
That's what they have taught us.
Thank you very much.
Nataka diapers. Nataka chakula.
Yes.
Nataka kwenda sijui wapi pesa ya taxi. And you know, it's just what it is.
And that is why I like bringing the other version that is not common. Because the common requirement of a daddy is provision.
Maybe let's talk to the dad in the house.
Thanks.
What is the primary function of a father? Not of a husband, of a father.
I would say there are many very key or core functions of a father. And I first of all want to discuss about provision that we have alluded here. And I think society has overemphasized provision and has put a lot of pressure on dads that we must provide. And in an attempt to provide, we find that we have been away from our families. And that's why you hear most of the people nowadays that are talking of absent fathers. We are absent as we try to satisfy the societal and even the family expectation that we should provide. But besides providing, there are other core things that we require to provide. One, a dad provides identity to the children. A dad provides security to the wife and even to the family. A dad is an instructor. A dad is a motivator. A dad is a disciplinarian. So there is a whole spectrum of the things that a dad should provide. But unfortunately, our society has only focused on provision. And that's why you hear nowadays even some ladies saying, I don't need a man as long as I can raise my kids on my own. I don't need a dad. But that is a failure. If you look at the biblical concept or the biblical foundation, you'll find that a family is supposed to have a mother and a father. That's the godly perspective. When you come to a psychological perspective, and particularly there is a theory that was forwarded by a guy known as Sigmund Freud. We call it psychoanalytic theory. And that theory gives stages that we go through. And one of the theories of the ages between 3 to 6 years is very critical. It is where girls identify with their dads, boys identify with their mothers. And failure to identify, failure to have the dad present, it results to something we call fixation. And the results of those fixation, they affect our lives all through. So we must not emphasize on the issue of provision, but we must also, or rather at the exclusion of other aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, that said, and you know, there's this situation that is happening in the courts. If today you decide to take your baby daddy to court, niseme huyu jamaa ni kama alinipatia mimba na akanitoroka. The court will say, okay, let's talk about the provision. But the court never really emphasizes on the presence. They will grant access. Anafaa kuona mtoto wake kama ni twice a month, once a week, or whatever period of time that you agree. But they never tell us when we see our children what we're supposed to do with them. It's just spend time with them, put them in a car, take them home and just sit with them, or take them from their mother's home for swimming.
For swimming. For
because the court will prioritize the provision part. Zile za mtoto anaenda shule, school fees yake ni 20,000 a month, or whatever amount of a month. Lipa. Hizi zingine kenye mtafanya ni shida.
In fact, you'd be surprised that if you really don't have to be with the kids, especially the mothers. Most of the
Yes.
times the mothers have the custody.
Right.
So the fathers come pick the kids and take them out and then bring them back. You realize that as long as you're providing, even if you don't come for the babies,
Ni
nobody
sawa.
is really pushing you for that.
Yeah.
But if you don't provide and you want to insist on coming for those children,
There is a
now
problem.
there's a problem. From this mother, the society, and even sometimes the law.
Yes.
There's a problem there because these kids, I've had several cases of children coming to me, maybe teenagers coming for counseling, and they've been sent from school to go and get counseled, and then on certain issues, maybe some misbehaviors in
Yes.
school. But when you dig deeper, you realize that these children are crying. Some of them are from very rich background. The parents are wealthy, they have everything they need, but this child is saying, my mother doesn't love me. That is what they say. They say, daddy doesn't love me, mommy doesn't love me. And you are like, what makes you think they don't love you? You have everything that you need. I don't need those things. That is the language from all teenagers. Si hizo vitu nataka. Ni yeye nataka. And you see, when a child says nataka daddy,
Yes.
I always ask them, mbona hayuko? And then the child will say, my mom won't even allow me to look for my dad. My mom won't even allow me to call my dad. And you realize that this space of a dad is becoming such we can call it a deficiency in the society, from the married couples and to the single ones also. Mostly, the married ones psychologically, because you come home every day as
Yes.
a dad,
You assume that is presence.
that you're there. You come, you don't even sit with your children. They don't even have time. Bedroom, or even sitting at the sitting room, you're all watching the TV.
Yeah.
If the child wants to make a presentation, like maybe, daddy, this is what happened in school, nyamaza naona news.
Yeah.
Dad,
Ama na watch movie.
I have a call. I'm talking to someone. And you shut these kids out and they realize we don't have access to dad.
Our father.
There's something I love about my dad. Actually, I'm talking about a father who was away for some time and then we reconnected later.
Okay.
Me and my sister, we always say our father maximized the time we had together because they separated with my mom when I was 4 years, my sister was 6 years.
Yes.
And then we came to reconnect when I was expecting my firstborn. Like I was already a grown-up, a
Yes.
teenager, because I got my first child when I was a teenager. I always talk about it. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it.
We'll talk about it one of these fine
definitely.
Thursdays.
Oh yeah, and it has to be 2 hours because I can't start my story and not finish. And it's a long story.
Okay.
So my dad was away, not because he wanted, but because our mother did not want him in our lives.
Did not want him in your lives or
Yes.
her life?
All of us.
Okay.
She didn't even want our father to give us presents. Daddy would come with shopping.
Hata za kutuma na
Ati kutuma. Alikuwa anakuja na shopping hivi. Akigonga barabara inatupwa kwa choo. She didn't want anything to do with my dad.
Okay.
And so she separated us from him. Dad kept coming. So in our minds, we registered that our father loves us. So when we grew up, we went to look for him.
Okay.
And when we connected, he spent every moment with us. I remember the Bible studies we did every evening, eating food together, taking us out, maximizing every moment. And we were teenagers. Remember, we needed our time. We were in high school. We were going for like 3 months away. Then only the times we had the holiday. And I can assure you, today, we don't feel his absence.
Okay.
Because I think him being a psychologist, actually he's very big in psychology.
Okay.
He's a doctor in philosophy and theology. And I think masters in human development, psychology and human development. So I think that knowledge. But I tend to ask myself, how many other fathers have that kind of knowledge? Because you realize that I separate with my husband today, which will not happen. And then my kids.
Amen to that.
I have to destroy that spirit. How now? Me, it's forever until death do us part.
Hallelujah.
My husband is Mr. Mlongo. Hi. I know he's going to watch later. Now, we separate. Nikienda, I don't want anything to do with that man mentioned. These children, they have just been disconnected. Then this man is also bitter. See the cycle.
Yes.
The kids are actually not aware of whatever is happening. The man goes and the insults between the two shuts the man out. Then the man is like, I'll never look for those children. Wakinitaka.
Watanitafuta.
Watanitafuta.
And unfortunately, kids are always the victims in these kinds of situations.
You
Yeah,
can say that again.
yeah, they're always the victims in these kinds of situations where the two adults wanakosana, then nyasi ndiye inaumia. Fahali wawili that medali. So I don't know. And she has said that at least for her father, he is privileged to have gotten the knowledge, the education to actually understand psychology of how human beings interact. But a lot of us don't have that.
Bishop
Yeah, a lot of us.
Yeah. A lot of us don't have that. Nyinyi unakosana na bibi yako leo ama demu
You
yako
operate with
leo.
emotions.
Unatukanana kwa hivyo unasema nyinyi ni wachawi. Don't want to see you.
Before I respond to that,
Yes.
I want to go back to the point to a point I had raised earlier
Right.
about the role of a father. And I want to use what I have seen in my own house. Issues discipline. I've realized that when the baby is born, discipline matters are more with the mother until the age of around 6 to 10 years or 6 to 8 years. They are more with the mother, not with the dad. But after the age of 6 to 12 years, the father now comes in. Because this is the point at which the baby now feels like they are almost of the same height, the
Yes.
same age, the same strength with the mother. And the mother can tell her or him something and they want to revert back to the mother. That is the point at which now the voice of the dad comes in. Because the dad physically, we are strong, you can be able to instill severe discipline. And if we lose it at this point now, that is where now you'll find the kid now will be forwarded now to society. For me, I look at discipline as FASO. It starts with the mother, then if it is not corrected, it goes to the dad. If it's not corrected, it goes to society, where now government comes in.
The police.
And that's why now you see we have many issues in society. None other than President Uhuru Kenyatta himself. He is quoted saying that if this issue of single parenting is not addressed, we are likely to have issues in society. And I saw people making noise, but I could identify with that because I've seen it in my house, that if the father, you are not there to support the wife and you discipline together, chances are those kids will go in the wrong direction. Coming to the issue of lack of knowledge, it is true that people have not been educated well on family issues. You find that even those of us who do premarital counseling, we don't focus more on the need of a father. We try to focus more on how myself and my wife, we can live together, how we need to understand each other, how we need to appreciate each other.
Yeah.
We rarely talk about our role in bringing up the children that we are God-given. So you find we go to parenting without any knowledge. But it's the high time that the society, the churches, the religious organization, the media, they now emphasize the need to educate people on the role of parenting.
Yeah.
Not only on the father, but also even on the issue of the mother. It's very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, it's quite interesting how you know, when you're talking about that discipline. Anyway, we shall revisit that. Let's take a look at some of the feedback on our WhatsApp line. Abu, cheza kama wewe. I'm Kelvin from Meru. Unfortunately, I have nothing to remember my father for. He's been an absentee dad who even never felt bad when I stayed home due to lack of school fees. I would then educate myself through secondary school to the university. I just hate him.
Oh my.
That is a very strong word. Hi K24, I really rank and value my dad so much. Akina shanga up to date venye anatusomesha peke yake bila job hadi campus, and we are 13 kids ama you're 13 years. Mr. Mwenda Pole, barikiwa sana. Wow. 13 of you. My late dad was 1 in a million, present, provided fully, and was very, very responsible for the 8 of us. He was a mentor to all my siblings, whether girls or the boys. He gave us the best, from the essentials to the best education. Rest in peace, Daddy Paul.
My God.
Okay. Good morning, K24. Personally, I prefer being fatherless. So my dad is a retired tour guide. We would see him twice a year, and even when he comes, he would go for his shugulis and come back a day before going back to work. Yes, he would provide, but we all missed the father's bond and love and enough time to know him till he retired. He is someone else whom me and my mom wish not to have met. That's when we started learning of who he really is. Maybe we even don't know his brothers because he doesn't relate well with them, and he lost his friends. Ironically, he doesn't know what we scored in KCSE. It's all about him. Hata kitu yake huwezi guza. He is abusive. Nobody comes to our home and mark you, he doesn't drink nor smoke. Where? Let me tell you where I hate him so much. Hata remote hatuwezi shika. Nobody even watches TV with him. Hata kuingia gari yake, yeye huenda peke yake. Yeah?
That's extreme.
Okay, we're going to go on a break. The panel and I are going to digest what we have just read and probably respond to some of those issues that you guys have raised. Keep on sending. We shall try and sample as much as we can. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.